We got 202? Baller. Okay. We're talking about the spread of the Enlightenment. You guys are doing all the Enlightenment thinkers. So do we know a decent bit about like what the ideals of the Enlightenment were? Do we know what they thought of? Do we do a recap? Yeah, so basically the Enlightenment comes from all these different philosophers and scientists and like scientific figures who are all having a bunch of these ideas at the same time of like, a lot of it's based on like studying reality and like studying the things that we can tangibly see. Right at this point, we see like the kind of influence of the church and like religion begin to wane. We're more focused on the sciences. We also see a lot of ideas of like freedom and equality and tolerance begin to show up at this point, which will become pretty crucial. Right, I think freedom, equality, and tolerance are pretty crucial to modern society. And so these ideas kind of begin popping up in Paris, mostly Paris, France. But all big European cities had thinkers like this. They would print their ideas, which was pretty new for the time. Was actually like printing out your work and selling it en masse. The printing press had just been invented, and so they were able to actually like spread a lot of the Enlightenment ideas, which kind of creates this almost like a tidal wave of these like brand new revolutionary thoughts that like sweeps over the entire European world and causes conflict, right, everywhere it goes, because it's trying to change how things work. And so you see, right, this kind of, despite the fact that not all of the rulers at this time, like the church, does not like the Enlightenment. Modern kings at that time, generally not a humongous fan. Why would like royalty and like the church not be a fan of these brand new ideas? Yeah.
Is there a threat to the power?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm arguing that we should all be free and we should all have a say in government, is a king gonna like that? No, right? That's preposterous. At this time, all of Europe is kind of covered by what form of like government? We talked. It was the main focus of the entire last chapter.
Absolute monarchy?
Yeah, all of Europe, everyone was trying to be an absolutist, right? Reminder that absolutism is like one man dictatorship. One dude or woman has full control over every single part of the government, every single part of life. And so, just kind of before we get to the spoilers of how this actually shakes out, how do we think these two different forces of like freedom, equality, tolerance, and like dictatorship and single power, how do we think they kind of butt heads? What would we predict would happen? Yeah.
People start to revolt against like their kings and the church and that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, mass revolutions definitely happen, right? The American Revolution's a big one. French Revolution's a big one. So yeah, I mean, generally you'd expect, right? It's kind of I use this analogy first. It's kind of like oil and water. You have like, these like monarchs who have complete control, and a group of people now who want to take control. Naturally, right, it's probably going to end in violence. But the Enlightenment kind of carries with it a bunch of other ideas. It carries with it a whole new like design style for buildings, all new music, all new arts. You see kind of old styles, like the old like Greek styles begin to come back again, right? Buildings tend to adopt more like large pillars and domes. If you want to reference all of the like notable buildings in Washington, D.C. are all designed like this. Like, so the Capitol building has like those massive white pillars with a big dome, and the White House the same, Senate House the same. But these are all kind of dotting the European landscape at this time. Musically, right, music is becoming all brand new. We just heard some Bach, and that's kind of continuing to spread this idea, this like revolutionary thought all throughout Europe. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to go through 1 to 4 on the page. I don't have it, so you're gonna have to.
Still on Julia.
We feel up to talking about 1 to 4. We feel we have enough. All right. Again, I don't have the paper in front of me, so number 1. Someone can have to read it out.
What were the centers of the Enlightenment movement in Europe? It would be use of reason to solve issues, spread of like scientific and philosophical ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, these kind of new ideas are pretty core to the Enlightenment movement, and become like unstoppable once they spread to the actual population. Number 2.
How do the Enlightenment ideals conflict with governments and/or the church?
Yeah.
Basically, the government and church didn't like that people were spreading ideas that were critical of them, so they wanted to like get rid of those people. That way they could maintain their power.
Yeah, totally. I mean, these ideas are a threat to my power. Obviously, I don't like threats to my power, so maybe we should stop that. 3.
What type of government was popular in Europe at this time?
Absolutism?
Yeah. At this time, we were big fans of absolutism at this time. Everyone wants to be an absolute monarch. Yeah, so great answer. Number 4.
How do you think the Enlightenment ideals of equality conflicted with absolutism?
Yeah, so this one's kind of an opinion question, right? I mean, if you really wanted to spoil the answer, you could on the page, but that's boring. So yeah, how do you think these kind of oil and water two ideas mixed? Kind of already touched on it.
It's kind of a similar answer to the second question, where the monarchs didn't like that people were spreading ideas that would potentially threaten their power, so they wanted to stop those people. That way they could stay in power.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can totally predict a lot of conflicts probably going to happen. There's probably going to be a few violent revolutions. But something, and there are violent revolutions, right? A lot of the American Revolution is a big part of this. French Revolution, which gets a whole chapter. Pretty important. But kind of a very odd historical scenario appears. Because the next like 150 years are going to be full of a group of people called Enlightened Despots, who are a really like one-of-a-kind, probably never to be repeated ever historical figures. So I don't want to take a shot in the dark at what you think an Enlightened Despot might be, or again, just spoil it. Yeah, what's up?
They're basically an absolute monarch, but they try to service the country instead.
Yeah, they're absolute monarchs, right? They're absolutists. One dude in control of the entire government, but they simultaneously are like friends of the Enlightenment. And so like you kind of have it's almost like a hypocrisy in a sort of way, where you have these ideas of like freedom and justice and tolerance mixing with like dictatorship and like tyranny. And so you kind of have this very, like I mentioned, it's very unique, only ever of this period government begins to form from these two different conflicting forces. So this starts like the era of enlightened despotism. There are kind of four notable ones that exist, right? It's a very hard balance to pull off, right? To be a friend of the revolution and the government. Kind of a tricky tightrope. The first person to pull this off, like kind of the standard setter, was a guy named Frederick the Great, who I talked about last month. He was the king of Prussia at this time. He rose up and conquered a lot of territory, kind of made Prussia the big force in European politics. But he also invented an entirely new legal system, brought about like religious tolerance. Like in his realm, you could be of a different religion, right? They had a bunch of Jewish people living in his realm, right? And generally, you would be fine if you were a different religion. He tried to improve the lives of all of his people. And he kind of coined the term that he was the first servant of the state, right? Kind of test your memory. Before this, right, we talked about the Spanish monarchs, the French monarchs. How did they like get their power? Right? What was their reasoning? Yeah.
That they were like divinely ordained.
Yeah. Yeah, they were appointed by God Himself. Said, "Hey, you're gonna rule." But in this new era, where like we're trying to focus on what's in front of us, he does not claim that God appointed him to rule. He just says, "Hey, yeah, I'm one of you. I'm one of the people. Totally. I'm just like kind of in a cool castle. I'm your servant," which kind of keeps this weird balance between like, equality and freedom and like tyranny. And so he kind of sets the standard for what these weird class of enlightened despots are. He doesn't change the system all that much, but just enough to make an impact. Someone who does change the system quite a lot is a fellow named Joseph II of Austria. He sees Frederick doing his thing, right? Building new laws and trying to make the system a little bit more equal. And Joseph says, what if we just go all the way? He empowers the people a crazy amount. He makes independent newspapers that can criticize the king. Crazy idea. A whole new tax code. I'm going to pitch a random idea that he has to you. I want the reviews here. He has this like really crazy, wild idea that you should be paid for your work. What? He has this idea that like if a peasant does work, they should be properly paid for it and not just forced to do work.
That's crazy.
It's wild, right?
It's like a job. 9 to 5.
Yeah, so he has a bunch of these crazy ideas and kind of immediately begins implementing them. The powerful people in this country, the nobles in this country, don't like this. And so he tries to change the entire system in one lifetime. To you guys, just a broader question. How do we think this goes? Right, he tries to change the whole system in one lifetime, right? He does it when he's alive. Yeah, it doesn't go. It goes well for his lifetime, right? When Joseph is around, yeah, cool, right? Everyone will kind of follow him, right? He is an absolutist. But the second he dies, everyone says, yeah, we don't like that idea. And so they kind of reverse everything right after his death, because. Yeah, so they kind of reverse all of his changes after his death, and very little of it actually sticks. But during his lifetime, he does actually genuinely really improve the lives of everyone below him. The last person talked about in the book, although not the last, Enlightened despot, is a woman named Catherine the Great of Russia. She sees Joseph, she sees Frederick, right? They have these crazy brand new ideas. She's in contact with Voltaire and a bunch of other French philosophers. They love this chick. And she takes the throne of Russia. Actually, she overthrows her husband and kills him. And she takes the throne of Russia. And she says, hey guys, I'm going to be just like them. We're going to have an awesome realm, right? The people are going to be living the dream. We're going to bring freedom and tolerance. And for the first little bit of her reign, she really tries that, right? But it doesn't go super well. She has a lot of pushback when kind of implementing these ideas. Until there is a little bit of an uprising, right? She did not improve the people's conditions. She tried, but she didn't. And so the people kind of rose up against her. What do you think? What do you think's gonna happen? What do you think she'd do? Right? She's trying to improve the world. She's trying to improve her country. People just rose up against her. What would you guys do?
Crush them brutally.
Crush them brutally? Anyone else?
Like, listen to them, see what they have to say.
Well, listen to them. I like the first answer. Yeah, she goes in with a huge army and kills all the people who protest, or all the people who rose up against her, and takes these kind of revolutionary ideas that maybe people should be paid for their work. Right? She was in favor of them. When she came into power, she liked them. This revolution changes all that. She says, heck no, and brings back serfdom, which is basically slavery, in a big way. She strips all the rights from the people below her, and kind of really cracks down on the dictatorship that she has. And so we kind of see this heel turn right as this revolution happens. Kind of showing, should be kind of showing the holes in their logics here, right? These enlightened dictators who are such cool friends of the revolution can just turn on a dime and decide to enslave everyone and portray all these ideas. Kind of points into the hypocrisy of this whole weird era in history. But yeah, she kind of brings about a new age of slavery and serfdom in Russia, expands the country greatly. She conquers a lot of neighboring territory, conquers a lot of Poland, enslaves the Poles. And for questions, I'll give you guys another few minutes to talk about questions 5 to 8, or get answers from 5 to 8. You ready to talk about 5 through 8? You ready? Okay. Number 5.
There are some notable enlightened despots.
Talk about 3. There's a 4th one. He's later. Yeah.
Frederick the Great, Joseph II, and Catherine the Great.
Look at that, all 3. Yeah, these are the 3 big ones. These are the 3 the kind of notable ones. They actually succeed in being these like enlightened absolutists. Number 6.
What was important about Frederick the Great?
He granted many religious freedoms and reduced censorship.
Yeah. Any lots of thoughts?
They actually tried to help out people with that stuff in the South.
Yeah. He kind of created this whole idea. He was, Joseph and Catherine and the fourth person who we're talking about kind of looked to him for the inspiration on what to do. He also notably kind of abandons the whole like God ordained me kind of thing and just says, hey, I'm one of you guys. Except I live in a cool castle and have an awesome army. But yeah, we don't talk about that. 7.
What economic system did almost all these despots dislike?
Yeah, so there's a little typo on this one. I think the ones that you guys have just say that all of them liked.
It turned me into capitalism.
Yeah, I penciled that in on one of them and then I didn't do the rest of them. Yeah, you had a special one. Congrats.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, Frederick and Joseph don't like this system. Catherine loves this big fan after the revolution. Get it? Serfdom. Slavery, right? Joseph has the crazy idea we should pay people. Weird. Frederick doesn't like the system, doesn't get rid of it, but he doesn't support it either. Catherine, though, she loves serfdom. She loves forcing you to do work. Great.
Let's see. How did Catherine the Great handle Enlightenment ideals in the realm?
Wasn't that like she murdered everyone?
Yeah. She kind of didn't handle the Enlightenment idea, but she really tried. Didn't succeed. Maybe can I just Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
Casually saunter. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't get the timing there.
It's hard.
It's because first period I ran out of stuff and I had to like riff at the end.
See you guys.
This period I didn't even get to 9 and 10.
No,
It's the back.
that's fine. That's normal.
Yeah.
That's where the more you do it, the easier.
Yeah.
And it's no two periods are going to be the same. No, that's good. It's good.